Welcome to Beyond the Hologram. My name is Sol, and in this video I'll be talking about how to deal with toxic, negative people. So, stay tuned. Welcome back. So how do you deal with negative, toxic people? I mean, they're all around us, and you may have them in your circle, but you may not know that they belong to this category, or maybe you don't think that they have an effect on you. So how do you deal with them? Well, first you need to be able to recognize them and be able to spot them when they either enter your circle, enter your energy field, or are already there. I mean, toxic, negative people have a tendency to see the negative in everything, and they will try and pull you into their negativity. They usually speak negative about everything, even in situations that they are meant to be fun and exciting. And when you ask them how they are, they will find it very hard to say, I'm great, or answer in a cheerful manner. Their tone is usually flat and depressing. They will never tell you that what you're doing is good, and they'll never compliment you for your efforts, and usually tend to discourage you from going ahead with anything that you choose to experiment or venture into. They try and suck you into their negative and miserable views on life and tell you why you shouldn't be doing something. They usually tend to put down those who are ahead of them. Those who are maybe more successful and happier, and to them, those people got to where they are by means of deception or cunning ways. They can't fathom how someone can be happier and more successful than they are, and they'll try and discredit the ones that have a good go at life, and those who find happiness and contentment in the process. I mean, I remember, one day I was standing in line at the supermarket behind these two women, and, I couldn't help overhearing their conversation, and they were talking about a female colleague or someone who, got a promotion to be second in charge or something, and I couldn't quite make up the industry they were in, but, all I could hear was, their disapproval of her, saying things like, she must have screwed her way up to the top, and all sorts of toxic things that they said, which are a bit too rude for this channel to repeat, but you can imagine what I mean. And for the entire 5 minutes that I was standing there, they couldn't stop putting her down, and constantly spitting venom because they didn't make it to where she was. And that's another thing about toxic people, and that's jealousy. These people know deep down that, they are miserable, and they're jealous of those who, had the guts to, to do the things that they were afraid themselves to do, or are jealous of those who, made it to where they always wanted to be. So instead, they will try and bring others to their level, rather than, try and be inspired by those who, take a chance and are more driven, and just try and bring themselves to their level, and, use their drive and ambition, to motivate themselves. When we set out to achieve something, it is very important that, you'll be surrounded with like-minded people who can, they can encourage us and support us, particularly in the, if we are in the early stages of setting out to achieve something. I mean, most people will try and bounce their ideas by their friends or family or spouse, and in the hope that they will validate what they set out to achieve. Some people are, susceptible to negative responses, and hence risk, losing motivation or having doubts in their ideas because, they ask a negative, toxic person for their opinion. Particularly if they are in the type who is, a little insecure or unsure about their idea. I mean, I used to have, toxic, negative people in my circle, including, even a family member. And every time I would talk about an idea I had, they would try and, convince me, not to do it, and why it wouldn't work, or I shouldn't go for it. And, they always say things like, it's been done and many people tried it and failed, and, things like that. And, and by the time you finish the conversation with them, you just don't feel like doing anything. They just filled you with a venom and just negativity that, you just don't feel like, you don't feel secure anymore in your idea. I mean, toxic, negative people will always say bad things about other people. You will never hear them say something nice about someone, as it accentuates their shortcomings. And they usually like to to hear when someone they know failed or didn't make it. And you can always hear their sigh of relief when you tell them that someone failed. So how do you deal with toxic, negative people? Well, the simple answer would be you get rid of them. You cut ties with them. The moment you recognize these traits, you just cut ties with them. They want you to stay on their level because they fear that you will make it, and they will stay in their miserable reality. In fact, they are terrified to see someone they know succeed, and they will try and do anything in their power to stop that from happening. This is very similar to a smoker who is trying to quit, while other smokers in their circle are trying to entice them to continue to smoke because they can't quit themselves and feel like losers when they see someone who succeeds. And while I wouldn't necessarily define this kind of behavior toxic, it is very similar to that, in a sense that they will not encourage the quitter and be inspired to quit themselves, but rather try to lure them back into their habit in order for them to feel better about their failure to quit themselves. Toxic, negative people are a thorn in your side. And every day that you keep them in your energy, you are risking being poisoned more and more by their negative venom. If it is a family member, like the experience that I had, just try not to share your plans with them, and tell them as little as possible about you and what you are doing. If you need to bounce your ideas off someone, do it with someone who is successful and understands the importance of beliefs in oneself. And remember that there's a reason why you get inspiration to do something. I talked about it a lot in previous videos. Your inspirations are a call from your higher self to do something you were meant to do, and only you need to know the reason why, and only you need to understand why you need to do something. And to share it with someone who doesn't understand your path or the meaning of inspiration would be like reading a different synopsis to the movie they are watching. So I hope this helped, and I hope this makes sense. And if you like this kind of videos, please share, please subscribe, please hit the notification button. Please like, and of course comment. I'd like to know what you think, and whether you ever experienced toxic people in your life, or maybe you are still experiencing it. Until next time, just trust your intuition and trust your inspirations. They are there for a reason. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.